The reason MAGLEV, I don't think, advanced is there was no one here pitching it and selling it. Nobody's going to make a buck off it because it's the right thing to do for the taxpayer.
Construction cost of urban-type maglev trains is estimated to be below $45 million per kilometer, which is lower than the cost for a light rail or underground. Operating expenses is also lower because there are no reels or gears to replace, making maglev trains highly economical.
We've got another caller, but before I take that caller, one thing is very interesting. If the countries outside of the U.S. are opting for maglev, that is no different than the countries outside the U.S. rejecting GMOs. 524-1080. Hello, you're on the air.
SkyTran is a maglev system. It's a fraction of the cost of any other maglev system. It can travel at speeds of up to 150 miles an hour. You're never stuck in traffic because SkyTran flies above traffic. It's an elevated system. And it takes you directly to your destination without stopping at anyone else's stations. And it follows your own schedule, not some arbitrary schedule.
So roughly...
please invite your listeners to come to our website. It's www.skytran.com. That's SkyTran, SKYTRAN, like Nancy.com.
Can I ask you a little question? Sure. Well, it might not be a little question, but let's say Hawaii, for example, wanted to install maglev. What would be the maximum cost that they could be looking at, roughly?
Well, traditional maglev can cost as much as $600 million a mile. So maglev is expensive, very expensive. But SkyTran maglev, or what we call STML, costs only about $6 to $9 million a mile.
So 6 to 9 million. Let's say 10 million. Keep it simple. Yeah. 10 million, and we're going to go 20 miles.
You can go as long as far as you like.
Okay, so if we went 20 miles, right, at 10 million, how much would that be?
So it would be around $200 million.
Be about $200 million. Does that sound like it's more economical than $7 to $10 billion?
Slightly more. And I'll share another secret with you about traditional maglevs and other systems. They require a lot of energy. So if you're looking to reduce greenhouse gases, that type of maglev is not the way to go. SkyTran uses 1/3 the energy of any competing hybrid car, for example. So we're very low emissions, virtually no emissions. We travel on electricity, clean energy. We can use solar panels and, as you said, dramatically different cost structure.
Is there a lot of electricity usage with the rail system?
Yes, traditional rail, if it's electrified, has to move very big, heavy trains, and those, of course, use a lot of electricity. So you're looking at sucking needed electricity off the grid, and in hot days or cold days, when all of that electricity is needed for households and factories, you're looking at some brownouts.
What's very interesting is that there was a question that was raised as to who would foot the bill for the electricity. Would it be the HEART organization themselves, or would it be likely that the electric charges would be filtered down and added on to the homeowners' monthly electric bills?
Well, honestly, I do not know anything about the systems you're talking about for Hawaii.
Yeah.
And I'm not familiar with the discussion that's going on there. I simply called in to tell you about SkyTran and to tell your good people of Hawaii that it's a very different kind of system. It's one that I think is very harmonious with the Hawaiian spirit.
Right.
And it's gentle, it doesn't non-intrusive and quiet because it's not rail on rail, it's flying in a controlled environment.
Guess what? They're drilling at Waipahu Depot Street in 2 locations towards the Diamond Head side of the stoplight. And they're drilling where I told them not to drill. And I warned them on October 6th, and they said we did everything in the programmatic agreement, which was lying to me.
So I think it would be great to have an Hawaii, and I simply called in to offer.
No, I do appreciate that very much.
To offer our services.
Let me ask you one other question. Does SkyTran require monolithic structures to support it?
No, actually, we have the smallest footprint of any transportation system in the world. What we do is we come in and replace the light poles, those poles that provide light, with our own light poles. They're the same size, basically, an 18-inch diameter. And our poles can also provide electric bike charging stations and light. And they support our infrastructure. And our vehicles are so small, they can go into buildings. You don't even have to have your stations outdoors. You can go from one building to the other. Very small footprint, non-invasive,
Amazing.
Lightweight, makes no noise, uses very little energy, and is extremely, extremely efficient. You go from where you are to your destination without ever stopping. You're not stuck in traffic. You're not stopping at traffic lights. You don't have to stop because little kids are running into the road. Literally, you go from point A to point B in a matter of short minutes.
Wow. I have a guest in my studio here right now. His name is Tom Berg. And Tom used to be a councilman here that they managed to get rid of because he was too honest and too truthful. And he would like to maybe ask you a couple of questions.
Yes, sir, Tom.
Where are you calling from?
I'm presently calling you from Tel Aviv, where we're building several systems in various Israeli cities, including a full-scale demonstration system that will be up in the next few months.
But the point is, if you have a government of, for, and by the people, why would you deny the people access to, number one, complete information about the variable systems to be installed?
I have to interject this again. We had, the CEO of SkyTran calling in. Everything that you and I say right now is just dirty hands.
Yeah.
It's so vile that no matter how we try to have class or clean up the subject matter, we go backwards, HESH. Let's take...
So what do we do?
What we're going to do is we're going to go forward. Let's take the fact that, and I'm sorry to interrupt you on this, but what if this complaint was adjudicated in our favor? Let's focus now on why Jerry called about what SkyTran or other magnetic levitation can do. Let's just say, now get out of this contract because we, the public, it was misrepresented. breach of contract, terminated. We, the people, citizenry, can work with now everyone else, bring in new technology because we don't have to stop the project. And what happens is no penalty, no 400 million back, no losing federal funds. The wrongdoing, the act of knowingly and willingly making a false statement to misrepresent this contract is why we're here today.
Correct.
And to say I'm going to slap you on the wrist and say you shouldn't have done that is whereby it's going to cost us billions of dollars.
Yes.
We need to get out of this contract on the